Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
wake up! Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLunaCoffee.com. DeLuna Coffee, come explore our world of coffee. Use that promo code WARCHANT15, gets you a discount. Corey, it feels weird when I say come explore our world of coffee. It's like I'm a Lemmix, but I'm not a Lemmix. So, like, should I say explore their world of coffee? But then it feels like I'm, like, not proud to be under the banner of DeLuna Coffee. What say ye?
You know, I don't know what I say about that, but you remember when you asked what the plural was of Lemmix?
Yes.
It's got to be Lamoxin, right? I thought about that as soon as the show was over. All the great comedic minds come up with the clever stuff like 45 minutes after they're asked the question. But I think Lamoxin is the way to go.
Like Johnny Lamoxin.
But yeah, man, it's all our world. It's all our world. We're all DeLunatics.
There we go. That's right. Corey, how are you, though, man?
I'm great, Aslan. How you doing? You
Good.
doing okay? You got
Yeah,
a date
man.
this weekend?
No, I don't think so. Not right now. We'll see. We'll work on it. Got to keep my schedule open because we're busy, man. It's season. It's full out season. There's a basketball game, baseball series. Speaking of which, Mike Bell makes triumphant return to Tallahassee with the Pitt Panthers, although he was here 2 years ago. But we got Tyler Martin, son of Mike Martin Jr., a.k.a. Meat. Corey asked him an interesting question I thought about. Is he dad? Do you call him Meat? And it's, I thought it was an amusing answer, Got to keep him on his toes, poor kid. Not right. You, his father,
Right, exactly right.
Yeah,
because I've seen it. I've seen Meat call his dad 11 all the time.
Yeah.
And he, so it's just odd. It's odd when your dad has a nickname like that, and you just call him by your. I don't know if I just don't know if do Allen Iverson's kids call him the answer, or do they call him Dad? Yeah, I don't know.
Call Paul Pierce. Say truth.
Truth. What's for dinner?
Otherwise, though, the basketball team also in action. They'll be taking on North Carolina, coming off that win against Miami the other night, 88-71, as you all know. Corey, I had it on in the background as I was watching the Bee Gees documentary, which is why I wasn't able to put all my attention on the Miami-Florida State game. I just figured, when am I going to be at a dinner party and talk about the win against Miami in a sleepy Wednesday in February? Or someone's going to want to talk about my feelings about Barry Gibb and the Bee Gees. So you got to be prepared for all the things that come out my way. But they lost to Marquette. They were down considerable margins throughout that entire game. I think they cut it down to 8 with maybe 6 minutes ago. And you thought, maybe here comes the Tar Heels. But no, Woj. And that's who's there, right? The guy used to be at Duke, the really annoying guy.
The slap the floor guy,
Yeah, cool thing. I don't know. Win this game, and that just gets you that much closer to hanging up another banner, right? What do we think about North Carolina? Is North Carolina, I don't know, matchup-wise, there's something that is going to make you lose sleep tonight?
Look, man, they don't shoot the ball well from three necessarily, but they got big dudes. Florida State's biggest strength going in almost any game is what they do on the glass, their physicality, their rebounding, and North Carolina can eliminate some of that because of Baycott and not Harrison. I can never remember that guy's name. And then they got Sharp, who was Scotty Barnes' teammate. I can't remember the other guy's name. Garrison Brooks. That sounds right. So they got three big dudes that can play that they rotate and interchange. But yeah, man, it's not going to be easy. It won't be as easy as Marquette made it look on Wednesday night. I don't believe. That was just, especially if Malik Osborne can't go. And if you know how Leonard is, we won't know if Malik Osborne can play until 10 minutes before tip. Probably same with MJ, to be honest with you. So if Florida State's shorthanded, it could definitely be a tough game. It was a tough game in Tallahassee. I think Florida State won by like 7 or 8, but it was a close game right there at the very end. So it's not easy. It's not going to be an easy game.
You said the other day, so I don't think there was anybody in the Dean Dome for the Marquette game. I could be mistaken. Again, it was on the background. I wasn't dialed in on it. But they're going to let people into the arena for this one?
According to the people I follow on Twitter, that North Carolina is starting this weekend, they're letting like 30% capacity or 25% capacity into sporting events and concert venues and outdoor or restaurants and stuff. They've been much more strict than Florida has. So I think, I know the tweet said that there could be 3,200 people there for the Duke North Carolina game next weekend. So I assume that means there could be 3,200 people there for the game on Saturday. So it'll probably be the biggest crowd Florida State's played in front of, except I think Louisville had about 3,000 too. So it should be good, man. Hopefully there will be people there just to have some juice. But yeah, if they win that game, they're winning the ACC regular season title. Because it's hard to imagine how they would lose to Boston College. And if they beat North Carolina and beat Boston College, then it doesn't matter what they do at Notre Dame in the finale. They're going to be the regular season champs. So it's a good test, though, man. North Carolina is an NCAA tournament team, in my opinion, despite that loss to Marquette, which is crazy that they scheduled that game because they didn't want an 8-game break, and then they just got harpooned by Marquette. Marquette dominated, like you said. I know you were watching Barry Gibb. Sorry, Andy Gibb, though. How about him?
I know, man. Handsome
I didn't know. I watched that documentary too, like most of it. I guess I didn't watch all of it, but. Yeah. I think I always thought that Andy Gibb was part of the Bee Gees, but heck no, he was doing his own thing.
Yeah, he was a Tiger Beat, like teen idol, pinup guy.
Yeah, he was like the Scott Baio of his time.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I'm saying? The David Cassidy. But yeah, I didn't realize he was such a huge
Leif
star
Garrett.
on his own. Yeah, there you go. But Andy Gibb had they showed that image where he had like 4 of the top 10 hits in the country. It's a weird time, man, in our country for that stuff to be that popular.
70s, man.
I mean,
70s.
I think and they get into that a little bit, how the Bee Gees got kind of stained with the whole disco thing, and that's what they became, and they kind of became a joke by the mid-'80s. But it is kind of bizarre that music, and I like the Bee Gees music. But that took over our country for a few years. You know what I mean? We went from like the Beatles and the Rolling Stones to that.
People just want to dance, Corey.
Hey, I see it, man. I'm with you. I just want to dance too. I haven't been to a dance club in so long, Aslan. I start to get withdrawal. Yeah. I've been working on everything. But the Carolina big game for North Carolina too. Now, like they're not a guaranteed. If they beat Florida State, they're in the NCAA tournament. It's a lock and loaded. Yeah. If they don't, they're straight on the bubble. So that it is the biggest game of their year. And it'll be interesting to see how Florida State responds. Playing a talented team. Look, they got more McDonald's All-Americans than Florida State does, like 4 more. Playing a talented, desperate team when you already have things locked up. Like, you're already in the tournament. You can still lose this game and win it doesn't mean as much to Florida State as it does to North Carolina. So it'll be interesting to see how they match the energy. And that has not really been a problem for much of this year. So it'll be interesting to see how Florida State matches the energy in that game.
Well, just the fact, just being on the road too, right? I mean, you mentioned a couple times earlier in the week, just we know what they can do in the friendly confines of the Tallahassee, Leon County Civic Center, Tucker Center, whatever you want to call it, Amsterdam.
Yeah,
they did what they did down in Coral Gables, but let's see a game opponent with an actual roster. Also, side note, what does Steve Robinson think every time he plays Florida State? Like the last 3 years. What's going through his mind?
You got to be. He has to text Leonard and how the F are you doing this? How is this happening? Yeah, I don't know. I think Steve Robinson has I think he has the best life, man. Yeah. No real pressure. Makes a lot of money. Gets to coach at a program like that. He's won national championships. He has rings, but no pressure of being the head coach. That must be the career assistant. I know he's not a career assistant because he was a head coach for about a decade, I guess, or 8 years, but at Tulsa and Florida State. But to be a career assistant at a program like that, it must be so sweet. You get to recruit wearing the North Carolina blue. You get to celebrate championships, and but they haven't been good for a while. Or they haven't been North Carolina for a few years. So it'll be interesting to see what they do on Saturday, because they had been playing really well up until Wednesday night. Like Marquette just took it to them, but they had been playing really well before that game. So big game for the Noles.
Saturday, you folks better brew 2 pots of your favorite DeLuna coffee. It's going to be a long one. Obviously, was it 4 o'clock tip against North Carolina?
Yep.
And then baseball will be playing game 2 of their 3-game set against the Panthers of Pitt. I mean, I got to pull it up just so I can look at it and make sure I'm not. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. first pitch. Well, I'm at like 8:05, 8:07 first pitch at Hauser with Pitt. So, I mean, I don't know. You're not going to be getting out of Hauser until probably, I don't know, midnight 30.
Oh, do I have to go to that game?
No, you don't have to. I guess if I don't have a date, I'll go to it. How about that?
No, I'll go. I'm down there, man. I'm down there. That's what I'm down there. I'll actually be in Tallahassee. And look, I should never say anything like that in my life. I strike that from the record, Aslan. There's no need for somebody that has a cool job like I have to be put out by going to cover a baseball game.
We're joking. They know we love them over there.
Come on,
Hauser.
Clark. You're better than that.
No, stop. Don't be hard on yourself.
But yeah, so it's also on the ACC network. So for the people outside of Florida, you get a chance to watch Florida State baseball. So congratulations.
Hey, people at Spectrum in Orlando and Tampa have ACC network.
Sorry, just maybe people in Tallahassee. Hey, if you're in Tallahassee and you have Xfinity, go to the game. Oh, wait, it's limited. Sorry. So figure something out. Listen to Lulu on the radio. Keep up with our Warchant. Go to our update thread.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way to keep track. But yeah, it's crazy that we're already in conference play.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean? Like, that's usually you get a few warm-up series, and it's like, yep, now you're right. I know it's Pitt. You're not playing Clemson, but still, that's pretty crazy that they're already in conference play.
Yeah. So Mike Bell makes his return. This will be the first time, though, that he faces off against Florida State with Mike Martin Jr. in the opposing dugout. That ought to be interesting. We like Mike Bell, right? Mike Bell did good stuff here.
He did, and he's a former Florida State pitcher. I can't remember if he was an All-American, but he was a big-time pitcher for them when he was here and pitched in the pros. Don't think he ever made the majors. And then, yeah, he's the pitching coach at Oklahoma, had success there. When they fired or let go Jamie Shoup, they brought in Mike Bell, and they went to some World Series. They did some good things with him. They go to World Series with everyone. But still, it was a nice run for him. He's a Nole through and through. And, I'm sure it'll be interesting for him to be coaching against Meat. So it's not his first time back in Hauser, right, as the coach of Pitt, or is it?
No, I think in 19 he was here.
Yeah, I think that's right, too. So, yeah. So it's always cool, though, when he comes back. I'm sure that I wonder if Meat just doesn't – certainly not Saturday night because they're not going to be leaving the stadium until 11:30. But do you think he and Meat go grab a beer, like on Thursday night? Or Friday night after the game, or Sunday before they go to the, you know what I mean? Like I don't. They were They're obviously friends. Meat was, Meat was one of the reasons he came and one of the reasons he was hired. So I wonder if they if they go out and have a few beers.
Maybe Sunday they do some. Actually, no, they probably get in a bus and head like right to the airport after that.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe Saturday. I mean, shoot, they don't play till 8 p.m. They can go have brunch on Saturday.
There you go. Do a little day drinking.
Yeah.
Before that, and they're both falling asleep in the dugout before the 8 o'clock. It's got to be the latest scheduled start time in Hauser history.
That wasn't affected by like a weather delay or something.
That's what I'm saying. Like on the schedule is 8 p.m. It's got to be the latest. It's got to be the latest one in history. Yeah. Well, so luckily, only 1,100 people can come anyway.
I like that you dropped Clemson, though. I had to pull up the rankings. For this one, we'll use the D1. We'll use D1 baseball's top 25. We're at 24. A little disrespectful. There.
For
D1
real.
baseball. Virginia. Louisville, actually. Louisville's 4th. Virginia 12th. NC State 13th. Miami 6th. Forgot about those characters. So, ACC's got some talent, man. But, yeah, Clemson not in the top 25.
And Miami won 2 out of 3 against Florida.
Yeah, how's that?
They got a lineup, man. They can hit, they can hit. So that's impressive to go out there and win. I think they had lost like 8 games in a row to them until they went and won that series.
Yeah.
Hey, it's good. Hey, you know what? It's good for the ACC, though, right? It's good for we're Team ACC.
Oh, that's right.
So
that's right.
You know what I mean? If Miami beating Florida, it's like we all beat Florida.
Yeah, that's right. We get a little piece of it. We get a little piece of the sod. Everybody profits off it. All right, let's get to those questions that we weren't able to get to on Renegade Express right after this. All right, we still got the Tyler Martin interview coming up after we get back to some of the questions at the bottom of the Renegade Express mailbag. And, these aren't like bottom shelf questions. These are top shelf questions. They're just, we do everything on chronological basis around here, right, Corey?
That's what we do, man. That's what we do. We're chronological. That's what people have always said about us.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Tennis Ump. He says, wake up, guys. DeLuna coffee is outstanding, by the way. His words, not mine. He's
okay, I was going to say, it sounded like an aside from you, but that was from Tennis Ump.
It was.
Okay, nice.
Here's the question. How much improvement do you expect to see against Notre Dame compared to games this year? I would assume like versus 2020. I really feel that since Norvell and company did not really have a spring practice to evaluate what he really had, that there would have been major differences in my mind with the players that he trotted out there to really begin evaluations during live games. Man, you said really like 6 times there, Tennis. Come on, tighten up. During live games as he had no option. Also, Josh Storms has to be excited about having a full spring and summer to train the guys and start to get them towards where they need to be. Thanks again for all you guys do. Well, thank you for the question, Tennis. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard to say, obviously, definitively. I will say that, we hear that old dumb, it's not a dumb cliche, it's probably true, but most teams make their biggest strides from week 1 to week 2. Well, what about like a coaching tenure? Is that usually from year 1 to year 2? But it's so different this year because last year was really a year 0 because of everything that went on and no offseason. So you should theoretically see a really big jump in performance, in physicality, in everything that he wants his special teams, everything that he prides himself on. You should see a jump in that almost immediately. So again, it's a really tough opener. They couldn't get DeVry to come play in late August, so they have to open up with Notre Dame. But I think that you will see it should look different is the only way I can explain it. With a full year, with a real offseason, with the spring practice, with the transfers coming in, it should look different than what we saw last year.
Yeah, I saw a bracket that had Grand Canyon in the same bracket as Florida State.
I saw that too. I didn't even know Grand Canyon was
that sounds like an 800 number school, But yeah, they're real thing.
When did National Park start playing basketball?
I want to say I think like Dan Marley was their head coach a few years ago.
That seems right. Yeah, and I think they've won some beaten some real teams too. But yeah, I saw that Florida State was a 3 in that bracket, and they were playing Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Well, I think to a man, like Mike Norvell liked what he brought to the table when he added LaDamian Webb. I think he liked what he brought to the table when he added Devontae Love-Taylor to the team last season. So he had a good sort of eye of picking out some transfers, some instant help guys, and putting them into the roster. Well, now you're going to have a quarterback, most important position. Now you're going to have an edge rusher, defensive end, whatever you want to label Jermaine Johnson, at a position of much, much need. Nickelback and Jamie Robinson, again, position of need, a guy that we feel pretty bullish about. So I think, I don't know how we can give like an empirical, tangible number. I still don't know how, aptly Adam Fuller is going to coordinate the defense. But speaking offensively, I think we'll see something kind of closer to what we saw versus North Carolina than what we saw against North Carolina State.
Yeah, that seems fair. Sure.
So, Notre Dame's got to break in a quarterback, new scheme, new system for him. They lost their defensive coordinator, Clark Lee. They replaced him with Marcus Freeman from Cincinnati, which we'll see how that works out. I should go back and check, but I don't know if Freeman was at Cincinnati when Norvell was at Memphis and they were dueling for AAC championships. But I can probably look it up somewhat if I could actually type well, but I can't type well. But Google always knows what I'm thinking, which is kind of creepy, but I appreciate it. Yeah, man, he was at Cincinnati from 17 to 20. So there's some familiarity there. which, maybe works a little bit better with Mike Norvell as opposed to Freeman breaking in a new team, So there's things there. There's things there to feel good about, which I do. Thanks for the question again, Tennis Hump. Random_John. Good morning, Corey and Aslan, the two best Wake Up War Chant hosts ever. Ever. I will let Corey fight anyone who says otherwise.
Right, exactly.
2 questions. First question. What is it Leonard Hamilton and company are doing that takes what seems to be at best bench players on other teams to NBA level talent? It seems there can only be so many ways to tell a person how to bounce a ball, pass a ball, toss it around a circle, suspend it in the air. How is Leonard telling people to do this differently than, say, Mike Krzyzewski?
Well, look, now Duke has plenty of NBA talent on their team too, and they're playing a lot better now that the one kid left. But look, I don't know that I can answer it the way that question was phrased, as much as they do a very good job of evaluating talent early in high school. So like Devin Vassell, for instance, nobody knew that kid's name his junior year of high school. Nobody, except Florida State. I can't remember the schools. It was like North Florida and Kennesaw State and Florida State were that kid's first 3 offers. Well, what is the big ACC team, the NCAA tournament team, the top 20 program, offering a kid that only has other offers from, like I said, North Florida and Kennesaw State? Same thing with Cabangeli. He was at a prep school and he'd been offered by Binghamton. And then Dennis Gates saw him and pulled the trigger and liked what he saw and the potential there. I think that's what they've done very well. They've identified guys early. Even a guy like Scotty Barnes, they identified, everybody could see him when he was a senior. Oh, good grief. But Florida State identified him early when he wasn't 6'8", and still saw the signs of a guy they wanted to offer and coach. And once they get to, I think the biggest thing when they get to campus now anyway, they do develop. Like, they're good at developing. Stan Jones is very good at developing big men. He's a great free throw shooter. I've seen that in person. So he can develop things. So can CY. CY is good with the guards. But again, I go back to it. It's a mindset. Like, think how refreshing it is for an NBA team to know they can draft someone with the 4th overall pick, and he's not going to be clamoring for his. Like, why am I not getting 18 shots a game? I'm the 4th pick. Or a kid that they drafted 12th, the Spurs, and know that he's going to be okay taking 5 shots a game and just playing his butt off on defense. That's what I think makes Florida State guys, at least now, so appealing to NBA teams. Patrick Williams, he's averaging more points now in the NBA than he did in college, but he also takes like 7 shots a game. He'll stand in the corner and be content standing in the corner watching Zach LaVine throw up crazy shots that go in a lot because he's good, and then just go play as hard as he can on defense. That mindset is instilled in them. They're selfless. And in the NBA, that is such a rare commodity for a talented player that teams gravitate towards that, man. That's why Terrence Mann is getting the minutes he's getting now with the Clippers. Like, he's in their rotation. He's playing in front of Luke Kennard and other guys that are getting paid $15 million a year because of the way he defends and the way he's so selfless and doesn't need to shoot 12 times a game. I don't think that answered the question, but I think that's what makes Florida State, and the same thing's going to be the case with Scotty Barnes and Raekwon Gray. These are guys that are going to be appealing because they can impact a game without shooting it 22 times. And most NBA teams already have their established player. Like, say the Hawks drafted Scotty Barnes next year. Well, buddy, Scotty, you're not getting 15 shots a game. You play with Trae Young. You can go get some rebounds, but you're not going to get 15 shots a game. We need you to play defense, and we need you to shoot when you're open, and that's the kind of things that Florida State players are brought up with. So I think that helps. The developing and all that's a huge part of it too, though. But I just think it's the mindset that they have. The way they play basketball makes them appealing to NBA scouts and general managers.
I just wonder, this isn't a complaint. This is more like maybe rhetorical than anything. I just wonder, what took so long? I mean,
well, it's the talent, right?
Yeah, I think they weren't competing for these guys in 2007 and 8 and 9 and 10,
Well, it was a different, look, he had the number 1 recruiting class in the country way back a decade ago. It was Jason Rich, Isaiah Swan. I think Alexander Johnson might have been a part of that class.
Was that Echefu part of that one, or was that
maybe? But those were guys that were, Scotty Barnes was a different 5-star recruit. Again, he's the guy that averaged 10 points a game. Devin Vassell was a big-time player at his high school, but he wasn't some super-duper McDonald's All-American freak show that has his own entourage and everybody in his ear. I think they've recruited a different type of kid, and they've just gotten better. They've recruited better players. Like they don't
absolutely.
have.
Yeah, just it's like I
This
wonder
is
how
no slight on David Dulkes, but he was kind of he could shoot a little. He could shoot a little bit. He had moments, and he was a pretty good defender. But he couldn't handle the ball at all. He wasn't a good passer. Luke Laux was a good passer, but wasn't overly athletic. They're getting the combinations of all these guys now. It's just that's what they're getting a lot of NBA players. I don't know how else to say it. I think he's upped his level of recruiting. I also think he changed the way he plays. Like they are a fast tempo team. They are an offensive program now. They still play defense, but we all remember that first run in the NCAA tournaments a decade ago. Those games, you wanted to stab your eyes out. Yeah. 53-48. 21 turnovers. It was a slog and a slugfest, and that's how they had to play. Now they're the leading scoring team in the ACC. And I think they're like, since the turn of the year, the calendar year, they're like one of the top 5 teams in the country for offensive efficiency. So he just changed his style of play. He wanted to recruit different guys. It started with Bacon and Beasley, to me. They could get up and down, and they wanted to shoot quickly, and they wanted to run a lot. And they needed a lot of players to run that system. And it's certainly worked.
It's crazy, man. He's 72. Like at age 66, he's like, let me flip this on its ear. And it's been killing it since. It's amazing.
And I said that way back when, like when they started winning again. It's like this doesn't happen where a guy who reaches heights that a program's never had as a coach, dips down again to where people want him fired, and then bounces back and reaches even higher heights. That hasn't happened a lot in college sports. No. Usually you don't get a chance to bounce back. But also the coaches are usually too stubborn to change what's worked for them in the past. But Leonard just flipped it. It's like, nope, we're going to run. We're going to play 11 guys. We're going to be like 40 minutes of hell like Arkansas was in the mid-'90s with Nolan Richardson, and we're going to just run you out of the gym as opposed to slowly bringing the ball up the court. And it's certainly worked.
Second question from random_John. What Florida State traditions are you excited for your children to experience when they attend Florida State? Examples being the Tennessee Waltz, 21st birthday toss into the Westcott Fountain, the President's Ice Cream Social, etc. Take care. Drink DeLuna coffee. For those who are listening, tell 10 strangers to drink DeLuna as well.
Yep. And then they'll tell 10 strangers, and then they'll tell 10 strangers.
If you do that for me, throw in an extra 15% off. I don't know
about. I'm trying to think of
maybe
Brady
go to Potts. Go to Potts with my kid, on happy hour on a Friday. That'd be pretty cool.
I go to, me, I'm a Bulls guy.
Right.
So I go to Bulls. I'll be on the deck. Brady will be tearing it up on the dance floor inside.
All right.
And his old man will be out creeping everyone out on the deck. Not because I say creepy things, just because I'm an old guy on the deck at a college bar. That would be creepy enough. But I don't know if I'm fired up about Brady doing a Tennessee Waltz. I just, that kid and his impulsivity, I really worry about the teenage years, which are fast approaching.
Stop.
We are 4 months away from him being a teenager. That is
all grown.
Yeah, man.
He's all grown. I don't know. Boy. The toss into the Westcott Fountain is it's just so fake. Like, it's coming. Like, I knew it was coming. It's not like you're being held down. It's just like, all right, everyone tries to make it fun and they pull you into the car. But then once you're in the car, what are you going to do? And then it's like you're supposed to fight off, I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And your friends are pulling you. And it's like, I don't know. You got to do it. I did it. Everybody does it, but it's a little overrated. Can you
just jump in, or do you have to be tossed in?
I guess that's part of it. I don't know. Maybe that's what it should be. All your friends should circle it, and you should have to fight through them to get into the fountain.
So you're telling me like 19-year-old or 20-year-old girls are picking up their friends and toss them into the fountain?
I don't know how the fairer sex is doing it. I don't know. I just know, my friends, it was, hey, man, let's go out for another beer run. And it's like, there's no beer over here. It's like, we're going to the fountain. It's like, right. So.
You already had your bathing suit on?
Well, yeah, I had a party at my house. I was dating a girl at the time, and, she pulled me upstairs into the room. I'm like, oh, yeah, let's get after it, while all my friends are here.
All right,
and then she's like, hey, you need to change. I'm like, okay, I'll get on my clothes for you. She's like, no, they're going to take you to the fountain. I'm like, oh, okay. So then, yeah, so she kind of ruined it. But
That's too bad.
Did
you wear a white shirt at least?
What's that?
Did you wear a white shirt?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, there you go. So, yeah, leave nothing to the imagination when you get dipped into that fountain.
Yeah. All right, last one before we get to our interview with Tyler Martin. It's not even a question, I don't think. It's Souza_ZP. It's Zach. Zach, where are you at nowadays? And you're talking about coming back to Florida. Hope you made it back. Wake up. Thank you guys for everything you do. Norvell got something cooking for the 2022 and 2023 classes. Fan base can feel the momentum, and it's been a long time since we felt that. LOL. Spring practice starts soon, and we'll be there for the spring game, ready to tailgate. LFG. I think let's foment good times.
Yeah, I think that's what that means.
All right. Zach,
he's
let's
just
go.
excited. Yeah, yeah, man. The weather's turning. You know, as we record this, I'm looking out my windows. It's a beautiful blue sky. It's like 65 degrees.
Beautiful.
The weather's turning. Vaccines are rolling in. People are starting to go out more. And we think by a couple months we'll all be breathing all over each other, and it's going to be a brand new world again, or it's going to be an old world. But either way, it's going to be good times again. Football's around in the air.
Let's go.
You got March Madness coming up. Baseball season starting up again. And then before you know it, we're going to be watching Florida State and Notre Dame, in front of a packed house.
Beautiful. Well said. All right, more show coming up. Tyler Martin, Florida State baseball player, coming up right after this. All right, we got him, everybody. We got Tyler Martin here on the program. Tyler, thanks for joining us. First off, people can't see this, but can you just describe what you were going for, the aesthetic on this haircut you have right now? How would you describe it?
It's certainly not for looks, that's for sure. That's just, something fun to do, a little mojo, get weird with it. Yeah.
You wear a hat most of the time anyway, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Try to.
Tyler, so you kind of picking up where you left off last year with a hot start at the plate. I mean, how much of your success, even though it was a really small sample size last season, how much of it do you think is being the son of meat, growing up at that ballpark, watching college baseball for so much of your life? Or were there anxious nerves and times last year when you had to choke up on the bat and you're like, man, I'm not playing against Rickards anymore?
No, not really. I mean, nothing's really ever changed throughout my years of playing. I mean, it's just, every at-bat for the team, I'm going to try to be a tough out, see as many pitches as I can, and, ultimately give my team the best chance to win. But, I mean, being around it, the atmosphere and the culture, it helped going into it. Yes, sir.
Tyler, I remember seeing you and your brother for the first time. I started covering Florida State in 2008, so Buster's year,
Yes,
Buster's
sir.
last year. And so you would have been, I don't know, 6, 7. You really did grow up with Florida State baseball. And I'd always see you on the side before practice, fielding ground balls or hitting. And I was like, man, that kid's got something to him. But I'll remember talking to your dad, and your dad was never sure. Like, he didn't know if people were just saying, oh, your kid's good because he was Mike Martin Jr. and we're being polite. When did your dad let you know that he thought you were pretty good? Or has he yet?
Oh, he has, definitely. It was whatever the fall before I came in the spring. It was, I think, October, and he's like, you're making a lot of strides. We're liking what we see, and would you be willing to, miss your spring semester of high school and, come here and play early? And I didn't hesitate at all.
Took that long, like your senior year? Dad's finally like, all right, you're Florida State caliber?
It happened quick. I mean, I don't really know exactly what happened. It's just I made a big jump and started figuring some things out with, my swing, and started getting a little bit more power, and, just it worked out.
You wanted to play baseball in college, but when you're like a junior or a sophomore, are you thinking Florida State is a viable option? Were you going to go there anyway and just walk on? Like, what were your plans when you were a sophomore or junior in high school before you made that jump that you made?
I figured I wasn't going to grow until probably sophomore or junior year into college. So I figured I'd go, junior college, play there for a year or two, and then see where I'm at, and then, go from there. If I want to go to Florida State, if I'm ready for that, then let's do it. If not, I would have gone somewhere else, maybe smaller. Yeah.
Hey, look, man, I know your dad's a hard ass. We've all met him. We've all seen him after games. I'm sure you got a little bit of that in you too. Your granddad does. But I wanted to know about your relationship with your dad when it came to baseball, because I think there's a misnomer maybe that people think, oh, he must have been coaching you up all the time. Well, he didn't get to watch you play much, right? Like I can't imagine in your travel ball seasons or your high school seasons, he's busy. So
Right.
how much did he get to watch you play growing up? Did he get to come to, I don't know, 1 game a year, 3 games a year? How did that relationship go during baseball seasons?
He always got like videos and stuff like that from whatever parents, whether it was my mom or somebody else, but he came to actually a pretty good amount of games throughout my high school career, especially in travel ball when I was younger. He'd make the road trips, and but he was there for a good amount. Yeah.
What was he like? Was he because he's a coach, but he's also a dad. And
Right.
I was wondering how he, in the car ride homes or after the game, was he the hard ass? Was he compassionate? How did he try to coach you and help you?
Well, the only time that he was whatever hard A was when it came to my attitude. Really, that was only the negative things that he had to say. But I mean, most of what he had to say after the games was, positive things. And yeah, if it came to attitude, he was gonna let it loose on me, definitely.
Sure,
Yeah.
because he's got a great attitude all the time.
Uh,
So, but again, so would he take you in the garage? Would you be in the driveway? Would y'all work on your swing together? Because some coaches are they step back and let you figure it out on your own. Some dads, and some are really active. I just wondered how much he tinkered with your swing. How much was he working with you? And how much was that kind of on your own?
we worked a lot from when I was 8 until about 13 or 14. And then he kind of set me loose. He wanted me to start coaching myself and then feeling things in my swing that I need to fix on my own. And I think that's what the great ones do is they don't need somebody telling them, hey, you're doing this. They work on it so much to where they already know what they're doing when they do it wrong. And so it's just tiny adjustments. But he taught me that from a young age. So he didn't have to be so hands-on from the time I was, 14 to 18. So, yeah. But he'd step in if he saw like a major thing and, say, hey, we got to fix this. But, yeah.
Was there a time when he told you, like, hey, Tyler, if you're serious about this, like, I'm going to have to coach you this way? Was there, like, a moment where he checked in with you to see if like, this is how you wanted to pursue, I guess, your life dreams? Because, he's got his own, unique style, and I'm sure he wasn't going to change it even for you, his son.
Definitely no. He's not changing that for anybody, especially not his son. Yeah, there was a moment. It was around that time in October when he said, hey, if you really want to do this, all right, we need to get to work. So it was every day after school, I'd have my practice. Then I'd come over to the stadium, practice with them, take ground balls, and just hundreds of reps a day. Just, trying to fit in 4 months of fall practice and the 4 weeks that we had before I, showed up in the spring. But
I know your teammates are probably cool with it. I'm sure you're friends with them and friendly with them, but I was just wondering, as a freshman that should have still been in high school, by the way, at that point, for the opening game, I think you batted leadoff.
Yes, sir.
And you played enough travel ball in your life to know what daddy ball is. I'm sure you're very familiar with what that is. Did you feel any of that? And I know your teammates might not have said it openly, and maybe they didn't say anything at all and you didn't feel it, but you just wanted to live up to, okay, I'm not sitting here batting leadoff because of my last name. I've earned it. And was there any extra pressure that came with that?
Yes, but I think that pressure let me do the things that I did. I think that I performed better in, high pressure situations. I don't know, my mind thinks clearer, my body works better. But they might have felt some type of way when I first showed up, and which I understand, I do. But just because I wasn't there for, the whole fall season and they see my name, number 1 on the lineup card, that might raise some eyebrows, that's fine. But I was just there to, prove that, I can do this and, I'm one of y'all. So.
You are just a freshman, Tyler, but, you've spent more time in that stadium than probably everybody else on that roster combined. You don't want to force anything, but do you feel like you can be a leader of this team? I know how important this program is to you and your entire family, so you want to have kind of a stake in it. Or how have you kind of gone about trying to lead the team and, kind of trying to navigate that aspect of things?
Well, I think as a position player, you can navigate some aspects like within whatever your group. But I mean, Chase Haney, I mean, he's going to be, the guy, the captain, and I think that'll be a thing that comes along next year when there aren't as many older guys. I'll step into that role and definitely carry on the tradition.
What's your earliest memory of Florida State baseball?
Earliest memory.
Like, were you hanging? You weren't alive for JD, obviously, but do you remember like 4 years old being in the dugout, or is it Buster? Is that the one that resonates with you, like the season that you remember the most from your childhood?
Probably Buster. Yeah, I mean, I was young, but there's still a lot of home runs that I remember when I was probably 3 foot, 4 foot nothing to the plate, grab the bat, give grade, Quincy hit the walk off against Florida. And that was a really cool moment. But because I think that was to seal the series.
Yeah.
That year.
Yeah. So were you there in 2008? Do you remember the fight against Miami?
I don't. No, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that would have been wonderful. Good. That probably could have scarred you for life. So that's good. There were people throwing stuff on the dugout. Tyler, when you were 11 years old, were you working walks? Were you one of those kids that like you weren't swinging until you got a strike and it's 3-1? It's got to be right where. I mean, what kind of kid were you when you were 11? Did you understand Moneyball and OPS and OBP, or were you just hacking at everything?
No, I was probably more selective then than I am now, just because you're going to see a lot more hittable pitches and every single count that you have. But yeah, I was still selective, definitely.
You'd have been fun for my kid to pitch to. Yeah. My kid can't throw strikes anyway, and you're going to make him throw it right down the middle twice. Awesome. But I wonder, because you were obviously a very good hitter, and I assume you're a very, very good hitter, he's an 11 and 12-year-old. How hard is it to have that mindset of, okay, that's a hittable pitch, but that's not my pitch? Because so many kids, and I'm only saying this now because I'm around a bunch of 12-year-old baseball players, but because my son is one, not because I'm a weirdo. But they want to swing at everything, and they think of walks as like they're defeated by it. How much of that was your dad imploring you that walks are actually really good?
There's actually a quote by Barry Bonds. He said, if your on base percentage is high, everything else is high. And I mean, that seems to be true with just about every great hitter. I mean, so I always liked to walk. I don't know. I thought of it as a free pass. This guy, he just gave it to me. Like, thanks. I don't see it any different from a single off the wall.
Tyler, what's your other grandpa like? Does he give you like really cool gifts because he's not Mike Martin to like make up for it?
No, he's Cuban. That's my mom's side of the family, so they're a little bit more rowdy. He's interesting. I love him to death. He's very discipline oriented, but he's crazy. Yeah.
He's Cuban. Was he a baseball guy too? Did he play baseball? Does he like this? Does he like the game? Do your grandparents on that side like it?
I think when he was younger, he did, and then he got into classes and stuff like that. He's doing something with medical devices.
So what are you already the coach in waiting? Like, when do you want to do this? I'm sure. I'm not sure your dad wanted to do this when he was your age.
I'm good on that.
Do you foresee yourself wanting to do this at all?
No, sir, I don't. Hopefully I make enough money in this sport where I don't have to, because again, coaches are insane. So I'm good on that. And they're just always on the road, and it's a tough job. It really is. And just like the stress and stuff like that. But hopefully I can play until I'm however old.
And you call him Meat, right? You don't call him Dad on the field?
On the field, I call him Meat. Yeah, I call him Dad. Yes, sir.
So at the dinner table, or when you're picking up something to eat, he's Dad then?
There's sometimes like I'll say Meat just like out of just because I'm around him all the time around here. So sometimes it will slip, but yeah, usually when it's one-on-one, I call him Dad.
And are you just Tyler? Like, you had 11, you had Meat, and then people just call you by your name?
Tyler, T-Mart, that's really it. Yes, sir.
Oh, all right. I guess that's something. That's cool, actually, by the way. I don't know if I'd want Meat as a nickname. Where
have that.
Tyler, do you remember like where you were when you found out your dad got the job, and I don't know, like the month maybe leading up to that, and I don't know, I don't want to call your dad crazy, but I'm sure he might have been a little bit more on tilt those few days leading up to that. I mean, just you remember like was it a text message? Was it a phone call? Were you guys around a dinner table when you found out your dad got the job?
I want to say it was just a text, and he said, "Hey, you want to call me real quick?" And then we were just talking about normal stuff today, and then he was like, "Yeah, I got the job." I was like, "Wow, it's awesome." Because I mean, he's been waiting a long time. I mean, I think he definitely deserved it. No matter what other people have to say, I mean, he's a great coach, and he's more than qualified for it.
And I don't think at that time anyway, I don't think you were foreseeing yourself maybe even playing at Florida State in 2020 and 2021, but certainly not 2020. You were going into your high school senior year. So it wasn't like you got that phone call or you talked to him like, all right, now I'm definitely going to be on the Florida State team. I think you were probably just happy that your dad got the job that he so desperately wanted.
Oh, I was so incredibly happy for him. No, that wasn't on my mind at all. No, sir. I mean, I was still worried about, just getting my body stronger to where, I could potentially play there. And that might have played a factor in my development so late is, I want to play for, my dad. He's been my coach my whole life, and I don't want to play anywhere else.
How healthy are you right now?
As far as, just healthy?
Yeah, just shoulder, being able to throw.
It's not good right now necessarily. We don't exactly know what's going on with it, but hopefully we'll get answers shortly.
But it doesn't affect your swing, clearly. You're okay swinging?
It does. It hurts on every swing, some more than others, but as long as I can swing, I'm going to play.
All right. And you can always work a walk.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah. I'll go out there with one arm if I have to.
Right.
You guys are only one series into the season right now, Tyler. Obviously, Pitt comes to town, conference opening series. What has you feeling optimistic about this team? Every year the goal remains the same for this team, and there's been talented players for the last, literal 4 decades that have walked through that same dugout. What has you feeling good about the way this team is built right now?
I think it's a special group. I really do. The arms might have not been that sharp this weekend, but they're making changes, and I still believe in them. I mean, they were lights out the whole fall, and I don't think that's going to change. It might have just been jitters, leaving too many hittable pitches over the plate, but it's a special group, and the camaraderie, especially from last year, it's not even close. I mean, it's a completely different team. We've molded really well together. I'm excited.
All right, man. That's Tyler Martin. DHing right now. Maybe we'll return to the hot corner at some point for your Florida State Seminoles. Tyler, thanks for the time, man.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.